People who were in a coma and totally freaked out when they woke up. My great-grandfather had a stroke. He was in a coma for 3 weeks. When he woke up, he had forgotten how to speak English. He could only speak the Choctaw language. He had learned it as a child, playing with kids from a reservation. He had completely forgotten the language his entire life. But now, he didn't know English. This lasted for 10 days, until one day he woke up from a nightmare and started speaking English again. He didn't remember a single word of Choctaw after that. I was in a coma for 4 days. When I woke up, everyone was talking about my child. I didn't even remember being pregnant. I gave birth to my son at 29 weeks by emergency C-section because of Crohn's disease. While I was unconscious, my large intestine ruptured. My husband said that at first I spoke like a child. I felt very tired and anxious. Gradually, my memory started coming back, even about the second surgery. My son was born during the third one. He is now 18 years old and 195 centimeters tall. Thanks for asking. I was in a coma for 9 days. I woke up connected to a ventilator. After they disconnected me, my body forgot how to breathe. I had to focus on every inhale and exhale. I couldn't sleep. When I fell asleep, my oxygen levels dropped, and the nurse would wake me up. I was irritated and exhausted, but after a month I was breathing on my own again. Now everything is fine. My mom was in a coma for 3 months. When she woke up, she believed the doctors wanted to kill her. She tried to stand up but fell. Her muscles had atrophied, and she couldn't speak or write. Her handwriting changed forever. She was irritated by her perfect nails and cuticles. Almost all her hair fell out. She survived sepsis. 5 years later, doctors call it a miracle. My husband was in a coma for 6 days after an accident. When he woke up, he started drawing faces, eyes, portraits. Before that, the most he did was work blueprints. A month later, he was drawing me and our daughter like a professional. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. My husband was by my side the whole time. When I woke up, he was crying and holding my hand. I asked, "Sorry, who are you?" I didn't recognize him. He went pale and left. Later, he admitted he thought I was dead and had come back as someone else. A couple of days later, my memory returned. We're still together. I was in a coma for 6 days and clearly remember leaving my body. I watched myself from the outside, heard doctors talking. I saw my mom holding my hand. Then I felt pulled back in and woke up. No one believes me, but I'm sure it really happened. After 2 weeks in a coma, I felt like I had lived a whole other life, in another city, with different people. There, I was a librarian, had a cat, and a bicycle. When I woke up, I didn't immediately understand where I was. It took me several months to let go of that life and return to this one. Before the coma, I didn't care much about cleaning. Afterwards, I became obsessively clean, washing my hands constantly, afraid of germs. The psychologist said it might be a post-traumatic response. Over time, it got better, but I still wash my hands longer than before. A close family friend was in a coma for 6 months. When he woke up, he couldn't remember the last 15 years of his life. He found out he had 2 children but didn't remember their births. He didn't even know about the 3rd child. His memory never fully returned. He had to relearn how to use a smartphone and laptop. Everything seemed new. The hardest part was realizing he missed his children growing up. My wife was in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks. After waking up, she had false memories based on conversations in the hospital room. She thought she had flown to Washington for treatment, her brain's interpretation of what she heard. For several days, she couldn't accept reality. Gradually, the false memories faded. Now she remembers recent events, but some old memories are lost. Sometimes she cries over them, but overall she feels okay. My brother-in-law had a brain tumor and was unconscious for a while. The nurses were of Asian descent. As he woke up, he apologized to them for making them come all the way to Japan. He was in a coma for about 3 weeks. After waking, he couldn't find his teeth. They were forgotten when tubes were inserted. They searched for the teeth for days until they found them on an X-ray, where they were blocking airflow. He was resuscitated after he collapsed by the sink. In 2021, I was in a coma for 2 weeks. I woke up thinking it was 1994. I didn't understand what the screens in people's hands were or why everyone was talking about the internet. I panicked, thinking I had been kidnapped. Doctors spent several days convincing me it was actually 2021. I'm still scared when I see familiar things in a new way. After 11 days in a coma, I woke up a different person. Doctors talked about dissociative identity. It was like there were two of me. Sometimes I spoke with a voice that felt strange to me. It took therapy and time to find balance. Part of me still can't believe it all really happened. At 14, I went into a coma after an accident. When I woke up, I started solving complex equations I'd never known before. Teachers and parents were shocked. I began competing in math contests and winning scholarships. No one can explain how it's possible. When I woke up from the coma, there was a mirror in the room. I looked and got scared. I didn't recognize myself. It felt like my face and body were strangers. I had to relearn how to perceive my own reflection. A psychologist called it depersonalization. After 6 months, it got easier, but I still feel like not quite me. When I came out of the coma, the first thing I asked was where my little brother was. Everyone went silent. I never had a brother, but I remembered him clearly. His voice, face, even how he smelled. Doctors said it might be a false memory caused by dreams or merging memories. But deep down, I still believe he's out there somewhere. After 8 days in a coma, I began having strange dreams, like I was living another life. I was a man, working in construction, had a dog and a wife named Carla. These memories were so vivid that I started confusing them with reality. Gradually they faded, but the feeling that I once lived another life never went away. I was in a coma for 4 days due to bacterial meningitis. After waking, I was completely deaf. I communicated with family using a notebook and pen. Gradually, hearing returned in my left ear, but my right ear remained completely deaf. It was very hard, but I survived. My wife was in a medically induced coma for 4 days. She had a reaction to contrast dye. Her heart stopped for 20 minutes. For 3 months, she talked to long-deceased relatives, often spoke of them as if they were near, constantly confused reality and fantasy. Over time, her condition improved, but some memories were lost. Sometimes she cries over the lost memories, but overall, life is normal. My father had a reaction to contrast dye after a head injury. He had seizures, and his brain seemed to reboot. After the coma, he could only make sounds, couldn't hold things. He spent several months in therapy. His mood changed drastically. He became short-tempered, irritable, and sleepy. Now he's okay, except for neck pain. My cousin suffered a severe head injury at age 20 and was in a coma for almost 4 weeks. After waking, he developed perfect, eidetic memory. He could repeat any conversation word for word and recall the exact date and time. He could memorize images in seconds. This annoyed people a lot, especially when he reminded them of things they forgot. He couldn't be rebooted. Better not to risk it. I fell into a coma due to diabetic ketoacidosis. Memories of the illness are blurry. Time felt distorted. I saw doctors and events in fragments. After waking, I felt out of sorts. I had to relearn how to talk and walk. I was very thin, 110 centimeters tall, weighed about 65 kgs. After a serious head injury, I had an MRI with contrast. I had a severe allergic reaction to the dye and nearly died on the table. My nephew was in a medically induced coma for over 3 months. During that time, he lost about 30% of his body weight due to muscle atrophy. When he woke up, the first thing he said was, "You forgot to feed me." The family cried a lot by his bedside. I was in a coma for 3 weeks from September 2nd to 26, 2001. On the way to work, I was hit by a drunk driver. I woke up with multiple injuries and a feeling of being in another world. The economy and the world had changed, but I was stuck in the past. It felt like time travel. After the coma, it was hard to accept the new reality.